Hey guys, this is Ryan with Mama on Mission, and I am coming to you today with part 2 of our homeschool curriculum review collaboration. And today we're going to talk all about geography and history. And just a reminder, our hosts are April over at the Simple Rugged Path, Michelle at the Brave Homeschooling Mama, Ashley at Joyful Noise Living, and Ingrid at Mama and Mia's Homeschool Chronicles. And I will link those channels down below so you can check them out for more awesome homeschool content. And also down below, I will link the playlist so you can see what everyone else is using for geography and history in case you need some more ideas or just want to see what everyone else is using. So this one's a little complicated for me. History is pretty streamlined. Geography is not so much. We do a little here and there. So I'm going to start with history, and then I will make my way to geography in just a minute. So for history, our spine is Story of the World. This year we are doing Volume 3. We did Volume 2 last year. We have not yet done Volume 1. We did Volume 2 last year because our co-op was doing it, and I wanted to do what they were doing to kind of track with them. So we are just now in Volume 3, Early Modern Times. So this covers from Elizabeth I to the 49ers. We are just a few weeks out from finishing this up, but this being my second year doing it, I pretty much know that I like it. It's very much my speed. It is written in more of story form. It's like, sorry, the glare. It is more like reading one big novel, and you just read it section by section to your kids, or if they're older kids, they can read aloud to themselves. We personally started doing the audio. We purchased the audio download, so it gets read to us while we're eating our lunch. On the days that we don't do science, we do history. And then along with that, I purchased the activity book. And this has so much stuff in it, more than I could ever think about doing in a year. There are, I'm trying to get to a page. So each chapter, most chapters are broken into at least 2 sections, or usually 2 sections. The one we happen to do today was just 1 section, so it kind of varies, but it's between 1 and 3 sections usually. So depending on how many times you were going to do history in a week, you could do a whole chapter in a day, or you could break it up by sections. We used to break it up in sections, but now we do just a solid chapter twice a week, I believe. So first they will have review questions right there, and they have the answers written there for you. And what we do is after we read, I ask the review questions if they don't know the answer. My sons, by the way, are finishing up 2nd grade and kindergarten. So if they don't know the answer, we'll go through and I'll read that part of the text again out loud to them and see if they can come up with the answer. And then they have a narration exercise. And since my kids are a little younger, I don't just say, hey, narrate this for me. I kind of guide them through it. I might, like, they give you an example of what a good narration would be, so I kind of just start reading that, and then I'll leave out blanks and have them fill them in, just to prove that they're kind of listening. And then after the narration exercise, they have additional history reading, and they have lists and lists of books that you can, oh wait, it's down here. It starts here, goes all the way through there. So those are, like this particular one is different books about Russia. And then there's corresponding literature suggestions, which are but this program is meant to be gone through twice before the child reaches high school age. And you do the more complex stuff the second round. So I think maybe when we go through these again, we'll go in a little more depth because they'll be better at listening and maybe reading on their own better. So there's definitely literature suggestions for you if you want to go more in depth. And then it has a map work, like directions for the map work. And the maps you will find in the back. I'm trying to find one for you. Okay, so this specific one is Africa, and it's they usually have some labels on them, but then the directions are back where your chapter is, and it'll tell you draw an arrow from here to here because this is where such and such battle took place, or this is where trade was happening, whatever you're learning at the time. And my boys really enjoy that, and I feel like that kind of brings in the geography to it. And then there is always a coloring page for each chapter. Again, those are found in the back, and you are allowed to copy those for multiple students, thankfully. So we do that, and then it's the project section, and these vary greatly on how many there are and what types there are. Again, at the beginning of the year, we would do probably one of these a chapter, and there's way more than that. But toward the end of the year, we just are not getting into them as much. Some of them are super simple. Some of them take a lot of materials and time, and if that's the kind of homeschool mom you are, then more power to you. But where we are right now, with a baby running around, it's not going to happen. So, for example, this chapter has making paper dolls, and there are, in the back, there's actually the templates for it. Anything that there needs to be a template for, they usually have in the back of the book. And then one where you can make your own Be the Next Czar board game. There's templates in the back again. And then there's a memory project you can do. There's an art project you can do. Like I said, they give you lots of examples. Sometimes there's cooking in there. Sometimes there's reenact such and such using these props or whatever. Very, very good stuff. I just have not taken the time for them. But that being said, even not using this curriculum to its full potential, we have loved it. Just the textbook, and then following it with the questions, and I let them use the color sheets while we're listening to it, which helps keep their hands busy, and the map work, all of it. I think it does a great job. So that's what we use for history. Now for geography, this is where it gets tricky. We technically do not do a geography program at home. We do it at our co-op, which is only one day a week, but they this year used Beginning Geography from Evan Moore and A Trip Around the World by Carson DeLosa. And from what I could tell, the geography, or the beginning geography, was more how to read a map, how to label a map, and I feel like my son got a lot from that. Just today, he said something about some certain type of landmark, and I was like, do you even know what that is? Like, I thought he was just making it up, and he knew exactly what it was. So my older son has really enjoyed that this year. And then A Trip Around the World, they just have kind of gone country by country and studied a little bit about it, read books from that country, and he seems to really enjoy that too. They did an end of the year project where they were assigned a country and they had to do some research on it and fill out some papers and then add some art and read a book from that country, and that was really fun. And then at home, we do a little bit of geography mixed in with our other subjects. As I showed you, we do the map work in Story of the World. We also use Claritas Publishing memory work in our morning basket. And there are, in each week of that, there are little geography sections. So we do this. This one is just like important Canadian cities. And so they have 5 listed: Halifax, Quebec, Charlottetown, St. John's. And then you can see where they are on this map, and they put them to a little tune, so you can just kind of get those memory pegs in there. This is where I know the city from. I know it's in Canada and about this region. And to be honest, it's helped me a lot too, because I am pretty geography illiterate, if that's a thing. I'm not good with geography. So we do that little section each week with our memory work. And then we also rotate through some geography songs that I have found. Well, for our states and capitals, we do those once a week. And it is actually from Classical Conversations. If you're not familiar with that, they have a ton of memory work type stuff. That's kind of what they base their foundations on. Their lower level is a lot of memory work, placing those memory pegs that you can build on later. I love that model. We're just not in an actual CC community, if that makes sense. So we use the classical conversations states and capitals song, and then we use a 50 state song that I found on YouTube that I might link below if I can find it. And it's just goes like from coast to coast, naming the different states kind of in order so that you can, in your mind, see where they are geographically. And then we also do especially for my kindergartner, a continent song and an ocean song that are both also ones that we play on YouTube, and they're both, I think, more of a Montessori type song. And so those are just kind of more like memorization type geography facts. And then occasionally for our morning basket, we pull out this thing. I just got this for free in a box of homeschool stuff. And there's not much to it. It just goes over the different landmarks of the world, but it's a little interesting thing just to add to our morning basket to learn about some different areas of the world that we've never seen. And then we also, this is more Bible, but each week, which we've been slacking the last few weeks, but each week we try to go through a little bit of a Voice of the Martyrs catalog or magazine. And while this is typically more like, I guess, Bible, because it's talking about missionary type stuff, it is obviously happening all around the world. So a lot of times, like if they're talking about a certain area, they might have a little map down at the bottom and show you kind of where it is. And if they don't, then we'll go pull out our globe and I'll show them where that country is. So this kind of touches on geography a little bit too. And I forgot to mention for history, our memory work also has a history sentence each week. For example, this one has, tell me about London during the time of the Restoration. And then there's a sentence about that. And they put it again to a tune so that we can sing it and memorize it better. And then we also use a timeline song from CC. Claritas has their own timeline, but we did our first 2 years of homeschooling, we used actually a CC or Classical Conversations app for memory work. The only reason we switched to Claritas was that they better coincide with the story of the world that we do. But we had already learned the entire timeline song, so we just do that instead of Claritas's timeline song. So with that timeline song, we have these timeline cards, if you're not familiar with CC, and they have the different parts of the timeline in a picture to kind of jog your memory. So we go through that a couple times a week, and then we also use the same cards for our presidents because we also learned, we also learned the president's song from CC instead of Claritas, so we just stuck with it instead of learning a new tune. So we do that about once a week as well. We used to do it more often, but now that they have it kind of memorized, we just do it once a week to kind of keep their memory going on that. So for next year, are we going to use the same thing? Pretty much. For history, we will use the next volume of Story of the World, which is modern history. And sorry, Siri thought I was talking to her. So we'll do modern history with Story of the World. And then, but with our co-op next year, for my son's older grade, he will be using, if I can find it, I wrote it down, Galloping the Globe. And they will just go country by country and learn about their culture. So I think they'll really like that. And then we're going to keep with all this memory type stuff and morning basket type stuff for geography. And then my younger son will be in first grade next year. And I believe at co-op they will be doing, I forget the name of it now, I should have written it down. But it's the 50 states. He'll be learning the different, about the different 50 states. So we're basically going to be doing the same thing next year. Our co-op is just changing up a little bit which curriculum they use. So hopefully you got something out of that. And if you're interested in learning more about any of the stuff that I showed you, I would be more than happy to talk to you about it. Just leave me a comment below. And don't forget to check out the playlist and check out our hosts down below. And I will see you next time. Bye.